All right, here's a quick little video to show you how to determine how many significant figures are in a number. I got a few examples down here, and I'm going to use this picture of America to teach you real quick. Your goal, always get to America. That's what you want to do. The Pacific and Atlantic just gives you directions on where to start on your number and which direction to start counting. You start on the Pacific side or on the left-hand side of the numbers if the decimal is present. So if you have a decimal present, which we have for quite a few of these numbers. You start on the right-hand side or the Atlantic side if the decimal is absent. So we have a few numbers in here without a decimal. But first, real quick, why are sig figs important? The best example I can give you is when you're watching the Olympics, or if you're running, or if you're swimming, and you're doing something that requires a time, and you get your time, and let's say your time is exactly 8 seconds. Your time is exactly 8 seconds, but that's not what is on the board. On the board, it's actually written 8.000. That's because the guy next to you probably swam the same lap or ran that distance in 8.001 seconds. So these three figures are significant. They're important. They're so important that we're still going to put them there even though these values are the same. For this value, we're not going to need decimals because whatever data this represents doesn't require decimals. Just like how you can have 8 bananas, but you never say you have 8.000 bananas. So we're looking at numbers that are important and decimal places that are important. So right now we're going to calculate or figure out how many correct decimal places we have, or how many important or significant decimal places we have. So the first question you always ask yourself, and we're going to look at the examples here, is the decimal absent or present? Well, technically that's supposed to be a decimal. So we're going to say the decimal is present. That means we're going to start on the Pacific side. Our goal is to get to America. So we're going to start on the left and we're going to work our way to the right. And we always start counting at the first non-zero number. That's a number, not a hashtag. That's where we start counting, and we count all the way to the very end. So I'm going to start on the left and I'm going to count to the right. Don't care because that's a 0. Don't care because that's a 0. Don't care because that's a 0. But here's my first non-zero number. Now I'm going to count to the very end. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 sig figs in this number. So for whatever data this number represents, these 2 zeros must be important for the same reason why these 3 zeros were important if you're calculating the time someone's running or swimming or what have you. So moving on to the next example, is the decimal absent or present? Decimal is absent, but there's no decimal there. There's a little comma there just to show that that's 8,000. So if the decimal is absent, we start on the right-hand side because that's where the Atlantic Ocean is. And we're going to start counting to the left all the way to the very end, always starting at the first non-zero number. So I'm going to start and I'm going to move to the left until I get to America. I don't care about that 0. And then I have 1, 2, 3. So there are also 3 sig figs, or 3 significant digits, in this number. Now let's look at 100, the next example. The decimal is absent. We're going to start on the right-hand side and work our way to the left because our goal, remember, is to always get to America. So we're going to start at the first non-zero number. Don't care, 1. This is the only non-zero number, so there is 1 sig fig. Once you start to get the hang of it, at this time, I'm going to recommend that you pause the video, try the other 3 on your own, and then listen to the rest of the video or fast forward to double check your answers. If you get them wrong, go back and listen to the justification so you can understand it. Next example, just like the previous example, same exact thing. The decimal is absent. We start on the Atlantic side, always going toward America. Start counting at the first non-zero number, and there's only 1 non-zero number, so there's 1 sig fig for this number. Next one's a little bit tricky. It's Pacific because our decimal is present, so we start on the Pacific side. and we keep counting to the right because we're going towards America until we hit the very end, starting at the first non-zero number. And this is the first non-zero number, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total digits that are significant because you count to the very end. So you skip the non-zero numbers at first. That's where you start counting, at the first non-zero numbers. But after that, count every zero till the very end. Same thing with the next one. We had the number 100.0, so a little bit different than this one. Notice how these two numbers are the same. The only difference is the decimal. Same value, different sig figs. Here the decimal is present, so we're going to start on the Pacific side and count all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 sig figs in this number. This one here, 501, we're going to start on the Atlantic side because a decimal is absent. We're going to go towards America, start counting at the first non-zero number. That's 1, 2, 3. 3 sig figs in 501. Then last but not least, we have 10.05. The decimal is present, so we're going to start on the Pacific side, counting towards America, starting at the first non-zero number. 1, 2, 3, 4.